share with this audio.
Good morning and happy Friday, LinkedIn friends, Value First Nation. Welcome to episode number 5 of Value First Revenue Architecture with Pedro. How you doing, man?
I am good. I'm good. Happy Friday, everyone. Super exciting to challenge the theory facing the real,
Yeah,
real problems, the real life.
yeah. I'm excited to talk about today because this is certainly the most common challenge is, you know, not being able to translate the needs of the business into the software and instead letting the software decide how the business needs can be executed, right? So this whole world of what do we call things? Oh, just let's just use the HubSpot default stages, and all that stuff doesn't work in practice. Um, but it's not always easy to get to the point of what does it need to look like, and can I even do that in HubSpot? And luckily, HubSpot has come a long way, uh, so that the answer to that question of can I even do that in HubSpot is 99% of the time yes now. But it still requires all the things that we've been talking about to understand your models and what the business needs to then translate it into HubSpot effectively. Yeah.
Yes. And then I think, Chris, we can start just a quick recap on the data model. So
Yep.
yeah, great. So
And thanks, Garo. We appreciate it. Glad you see some value.
So, Chris, we talk about multi-model. We're talking about acquisition. We're talking about retention and expansion, and we're talking about how it's how important is considering retention and expansion, because at some point, rely on acquisition only is not scalable. It's not sustainable at all. So, okay, then we added a little bit more complexity. Sharing, let me share my other screen here really fast. Sharing these different data models. So as you can see my screen here, I believe you can see. Great.
So,
We
like, real quick before you dive in, like,
Sure.
why can't it just be as simple as the other one that you just showed?
Okay. No, it is simple, but when you have different uh, motions, you need to use different you usually use different life cycle stages, and depends of your motion. Sometimes you need to emphasize a little bit more acquisition, sometimes you need to emphasize a little bit more retention or expansion, and you need to use different objects inside of HubSpot as well.
Yes.
um,
The data needs change, the process needs change, like,
yes,
and it could be different. You could think of it as different motions, different business units, different sales teams, different parts of the journey, right? If we're talking about retention and renewal, that's different from new logos, right?
it is.
Different stuff is required. And when you let the software tell you, hey, this is the default deal pipeline, just use that. Like, of course, we have teams falling all over each other. One team or one goal inherently gets all of the attention in all the meetings and all the reports, and usually that's net new and new logos because everything in the system is designed to support that. And all the struggles, all the friction that everybody has felt is from not going to this next level of complexity, right? Because all those teams, all those goals, that complexity is there inside the organization, whether you want to document it or not. And when we don't document it in ways that match the complexity, you can never get to the architecture that's actually going to help you be successful.
Yes. Yes. So first of all, we need to change it. We need to it's important to design your CRM taking consideration the multi model, because even like HubSpot, if you go here, the default automations covers only the acquisition part, because everybody was used to use the traditional marketing funnel, and there's nothing here, at least like native, to reflect or handle and manage the right side of the multi model. That's why a
Right.
lot of companies they have like evangelist. They never use like evangelist.
Yeah. It's like customer or evangelist. And even like the third button there, set life cycle stage when an opportunity is won. Like, okay, what happens after that? Like, okay, they're just a customer. Okay, that doesn't tell anybody anything, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
that's a big part of next week. Like we're doing a data summit next week. There's all the things we're doing are based on where somebody is in the journey, right? And just a quick example, like of how deep the problem goes. Like I love helping people think, like innovate in this journey, right? Because there's been the like lead, MQL, SQL, all these things have been baked in to cause a lot of the dysfunction that we feel. Even there, as I set up this event, I'm thinking I got to go stage by stage, right? And like put it in this format to where when we reach out to experts who want to participate, signals is a very hot topic right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it and I want to enable it as much as possible. But the reality is, like when we think of, or at least as I started thinking about signals, it's like, oh, that's the hand raise, right? That's the part when people are supposed to reach out and it replaces MQL, SQL. Like in reality, signals can happen throughout all of the stages, right? So anybody at any moment can become a hand raiser. So trying to fit that into one stage, right, makes no sense, which is what we inherently do when we say things like what happens when closed one, and then we don't address all the nuance like after that. Same thing thinking about it forward. What happens like this whole it's maddening when I hear about workflows that force stage movement. Like we skip the stage because the person was never in that stage, not because we forgot. Like, so yeah, sorry. I just had to share
No,
that. Even me, who's like I want to get rid of the word lead. I want to like still hard to think outside of the norms here, right?
yes. And so again, as you can see, it's important to talk about this because we have like different, even like different like benchmarking data for each of them. So normally, like the most common use case would be, I don't know, mid touch, whereas like kind of like a traditional SaaS company, or like a low touch PLG, where you have some kind of like probably need integration with your software and then to set up these life cycles. There's a couple of nuances on this, but what happened with high touch? Well, like in real life, um, and that's like one of the challenges I would like address this in this live today, because a lot of the high touch requires a different type of data model inside of your HubSpot, because in this case we are going to use accounts, the account object, or company object, because I already renamed my object. So, um, but we need to use company object. And honestly, most of the HubSpot portals, they use a lot of deals. They use like some like companies, but I would say between all of like the main default objects, company is not so, it's not so useful, or like nobody's like, using this so often as like deals and everything.
Right. And and there's been recent updates to HubSpot that make this like so huge because what I'm starting to realize is that people think in like stages in progression, right? And deals is the first thing you see that you can do that with in HubSpot. So guess where everybody puts all their workflows and all their business processes and all their like they just go right there. That's the power of what we can do with the company object and the contact object now. We can create Kanban like visuals, or if some record needs to go on a journey, we can do that now with the other records in HubSpot based on whatever drop down or status indicators we want, right? And
Yes.
so many things I've seen forced into deals just so we can get a Kanban view, right? And we don't, we're that world's done, people, right?
Yes. um so this is interesting because I see a lot of companies using deals for everything, even like management or tickets, but they don't use like company at all.
Right.
Now we have this account based prospecting page in HubSpot. It's in beta. And honestly, it's working really well. It's powerful. But there's like one challenge here that I would like to share with the community so we can start like, okay, it's all of the steps, like it's beautiful. Now in real life, how it would work inside of HubSpot. If I have like a high touchy, account based like a prospecting, how it would approach. So I'm here using sales workspace. We can, as you can see, we can create companies for your target account, or you can go to target accounts here and select like the select existing companies. So in this case, I will select like these companies, and they will be the target account. Of course, you can as well create like a company list and build from there. In this case, I select a couple of companies. So select here, select these companies, and then I can go next, and done. So if I go back now to the sales workspace, probably I can't see because probably it's synced by the owner. Let's see, Chris, if you have here companies. No.
It might be
Uh,
Nico. Try Nico.
let's see, Nico. Here we go.
Yeah.
Perfect. First of all, this is powerful, okay? Because it gives us, in terms of high touch motion, instead of like a lead approach, you need some kind of account based approach. So it's if you click here on this Moderna company, it will give you top signals like insights here. Oh, this is cool.
That's a new
I know
card this week.
this is not,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, this
Yep.
is
And that's, we do the update show with Casey Hawkins, who's kind of the go-to for lead scoring right now. And that card, top signals, like pay attention to that, folks. That is AI doing signal recognition in ways that lead scoring and human-based activity has never been able to achieve, right? So pay attention to this card. If you give HubSpot the context it needs, it's very likely, and this should be the surprise of no one, right? If it can take in all the context of the world around you and can understand it, of course it's going to be better at scoring actual situations than some score mechanism that's sitting over in the other side of the portal, right? So that card is a big deal. And of course, right next to it, we see on the screen agent research and like just clicking buttons to start research, right? So yeah, powerful updates here.
Yes. Now, oh, it's
It's
beautiful.
it's done. It's done with the research.
It's beautiful. My so here it's a super powerful view. What is a little bit the problem here? And this is like I would like to hear like the HubSpot community is how we are going to, because okay, in native way you have the company targets, the target accounts, and then like you can create leads from there, and then you can see the leads here, and you can see okay, this specific lead is associated to a target account. But like honestly, it's not super how can I say manageable in this way, because you need like if I have, for example, let's go back to the Nico Moderna, the Moderna example. Normally, in this case, we have one contact, but sometimes we have like five contacts. This is like how EBM usually works. You have five contacts. So should we create like five leads? Should we, and then like if we qualify one, qualify the rest of them? How it should work? In my opinion, we it should we should be able to manage like and qualify an account from this screen,
Yeah.
or at least see all the leads associated to this account, because unfortunately now, I mean, again, it's a powerful tool, but I think what is missing here is like a lead view where I can see all the leads associated to this target account in one view, and I can easily update them from this screen, and not like go to companies and then go to leads and then go to companies, and then like if I qualify one of them, should I qualify the rest of them, and have all of the steps. I think it should be more kind of, even the prospecting phase should be addressed on the company level instead of the lead level.
Yeah. And this is a great example because what do we see here? That sounds a lot like a lead for most people. Like opportunities, right? Deals in this case, right? Which
Mm-hmm.
is what leads should represent, right? So what we do, because the way that the system is built, like, okay, we're going to track our leads inside of deals and we're going to have a deal stage 0, right?
Yeah.
And we're just going to fit it in there because that's how the system is showing it to us, right? So we change our process to support the infrastructure of the system, right? And that's where I don't envy the position that the HubSpot team was in trying to create leads inside of HubSpot, because but again, this is where when you're not doing it on behalf of the customers and what they actually need, and in some cases maybe to win more against Salesforce, and Salesforce has leads, so now we need leads, right? But inherently, the way they got delivered is in a very HubSpot kind of way. And I just wish we could have called them something else besides leads. Like lead journey, even would have been good. But what you point out there is the challenge of like the importance of the map, right? The mapping exercise. This is how it needs to go for your company, right? When you put it for your business, rather, when you try to add it to HubSpot and you're like, okay, This company is a prospect for high touch, right? But they might buy other stuff from us too. Somebody from that company might buy one of the low touch things. Well, we've only had life cycle stages, right, to manage that effectively. So if one person from that associated with that company closes a low touch sale and they're listed as customer, then company like moves, has moved in the past, right? And there's like this roll up mechanism. And now all the things shift so that next, high touch person, it's like, oh, they're a customer already. This high touch motion should be easier because they trust us. And meanwhile, you're talking to a whole different division about a whole different need and a whole different product, and they don't even know that that other person checked out, right?
Yes.
So how do we? You mentioned you've been trying to solve for this. Have you built some workarounds to support it, or how are you
Um,
recommending people use this information?
so honestly, what I'm doing, so I face a real life challenge where a company, there's a company they manage like only account based. Their motion is like high touch, and they have like even for existing customers, they have like they don't talk with specific, they talk with a lot of people, so they need like it's mandatory like having like account view, and kind of drive the sales process from the account view. So I tried to implement leads and it didn't work really well. And then like I tried to build leads from associated with companies and it didn't work really well. Why? Because when you create like a lead and instead of associating this lead with a contact and associate this lead with companies, you lose a lot of like you lose like all of these stuff. Like if you go to here again to target, oh sorry, you lose all of this visualization here. So that's why they like these like super powerful. Like they love this, like data
Hmm.
insights. So when I'm using leads, I lose all of this visualization, which is bad. So the workaround I found was set up in like a company, like a lead status, but instead of a lead status will be like account status inside of like in this view here.
Right.
So they can, unfortunately, it's not so easy to manage activities from this page. So they need to click on actions and they can log activities here. But what we are doing is, for example, especially for EBM, normally they have like tier one, B, and C, or two, sorry, one, two, and three. So in this case, what we do is to make sure we are not missing anything here. We are automating a lot of like tasks, so they don't need to like being like worry about like, hey, I'm losing like opportunity, or I'm not nurturing the relationship for upsells and cross sells, expansion and retention, that what we discussed. So we are using a lot of task automation based on a couple of criteria, including the tier, but like we are educating them to manage their accounts from this screen, for existing accounts and for new accounts. So this is like what we use, and then
Well, did we lose Pedro? I think we might have. Um, while we wait to get him back. Oh,
hello.
here we go. He's
Oh, I'm
back.
sorry.
All
I'm
right,
so
all
sorry.
good.
My connection. So
Yeah.
what I would say, what I was saying, like we are using a lot of automations, so they don't need to worry about. And then we have tags here to say, hey, this company doesn't have any activity in the last like 7 or 30 days. doing some kind of workaround and have like account status where they can move the account status to qualify or something like this, and an opportunity is created and associated to the company. Um, this is the
Yep.
workaround. Ideally, would be great if, because honestly, Chris, this it's powerful. It's super powerful. But
Right.
if you don't um, add, if you don't like design these a little bit more for sales, company clients, they will start like get confused about like what is the difference between sales workspace and target accounts and the serve and the customer success workspace, because it gives us as well like the company level overview,
Yeah.
and it's a powerful tool. But clients start getting confused about this. So I mean, it's super powerful. I'm finding this. I would love to hear what is like the community is doing to solve these limitations as a workaround. But yeah, I hope it makes sense.
Well, let's go to can you pull up target accounts real quick?
Yes.
And just click on one of them. Or actually, let's look at Moderna. See if we can find Moderna.
Moderna.
Yeah.
Ah.
All right. Let's add
So
it.
it's interesting because sometimes you search and
Right. Well, what I wanted to see was that card. Like, and it looks like it's the same exact card.
it's the same.
Yeah. I think it's just not, or is it just weirdly redirecting us because your
Yeah,
user hasn't?
I don't know. I typed Moderna and yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Um, so click on any of the other companies like you did.
let's see Apple. Let's see
Right.
Apple for example.
Yeah. So I just wanted to make sure it was the same screen.
It is the same. Yeah, it
Right.
is the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so let's go to companies actually, or accounts in this case. Because we should have, so click on table view on the right, and click on board view,
This is really cool.
right? So this is life cycle stages as it's set up in our portal, in the Value First demo portal. And this is what I was referring to before in terms of you can set up this view based on any property on the record now. So if you do have a lead status, uh, right? So go to board settings, and this is like I'm pretty sure this is just new this week. So it's not like if you haven't seen this, give yourself permission. It's okay. Um,
Really cool. Really, really cool.
right. Uh, so that's where even now they're making it easy. Like if you do the workarounds in the right way, they're starting to develop just better, more visual outcomes inside of HubSpot. Um, so think from a visual perspective, this is where like, so if we don't have to worry about a lead being associated necessarily, and probably I would have to think this relates to some of the task automation, that you're doing, where
Hmm.
sometimes we'll create tasks to help make the status visible, like in places, right? Because people are used to working out of tasks. Um, which there's some more cool stuff coming related to task visibility too. But ultimately, like the key message I think today is like don't settle for what the system like gives you. This is ultimately why SaaS is workarounds a lot of the time because every SaaS tool works differently, and you
Yes.
know But the importance of getting getting this model right, like it's everything, right? Because the thing is when you don't do this, what I've seen, um, and the reason that this doesn't get done, in my opinion, is because this is, like I said, it's very high level, looks great. And then the business is like, well, what does it mean? What does it mean for us? How are we going to have to do things differently? That brings you to this page, which nobody wants to look at, nobody wants to talk to, everybody gets like crazy about. But this is the truth. This is the complexity of what we're talking about. This is just one of 6 models, too, right? 5 layers of one of the models, right? But when you get this right, you can show up with to HubSpot or to the HubSpot partner and have confidence and say, I don't necessarily care that's how HubSpot does it. This is what we need for our business.
Yes.
And if you can't say it like that, you can be convinced otherwise. And okay, I guess we could try it like that. Like, no, you're because then the people won't understand how to use HubSpot and they start blaming HubSpot. And it's just it's immediate misalignment, right? When you can take the time to do this, you can show up with confidence because you can get it done in HubSpot, right? A lot of the new object, I mean, the lead object is a fairly great example for how it can be still rough, like as they introduce new objects,
Yes.
right? Um, but paying attention to what you need and why helps you have discussions about how to get it done,
Yes.
right? And that's what we're trying to show here, that it is not just, okay, I guess this is how the software does it. Maybe we should change that process. Because in reality, nobody changes their process. They just can't do things inside of HubSpot. So they don't. And they have spreadsheets and emails and all these things that don't make it into the system. And then the system can't work for you. Right. So it's not the system's fault. It's not the user's fault, right? It's nobody's at fault. They're working with what they have like in front of them on a daily basis. So
Yes.
leadership teams, sales leaders especially. I mean, the most common thing, and I'm dealing with it in one case right now, is like, oh, people will pay us for this thing. Let's just add on this whole new revenue structure and let's start getting the money. And that's okay. Now I'm gonna add a deal in HubSpot. I'm gonna add a new deal pipeline, and then we'll be good. Right. And then, oh, we got to add a nurture sequence now. And we got to add this. And all the things that we're looking at right here need to make it into the system. They don't. A lot of havoc gets caused. And, it
Yeah.
just doesn't have to be that way.
I think and Chris, I love like one you mentioned like one of our lives. You said like, hey, you will find like opportunities everywhere. But sometimes like you have like the traction book, and then you're back. Like it's kind of a shiny thing. So most of the times, like it's money, but it's a shiny thing. And then like instead of your spending time on real problems, because I think when we talk about like RevOps, we're talking about like CRMs, we're talking about like designing like the data model, and we talk about all of the steps. It's a high risk keeping on in theory only, or not addressing real problems, like not like
Right.
working with real case. And I think the message I would like to share is first, it's okay if your CRM doesn't fit your data model 100%. Honestly, you will not find this. It's impossible. A CRM or any software like fits 100% what you need. But I think at the same time, this is like the one of the most excited part of being a HubSpot admin or being like a RevOps strategist, because you need to work with what you have, and you need to find solutions. This is like one solution for HubSpot. And the second message would be, I am happy because HubSpot is like, I don't know, updating every week, every day, a lot of things. And I don't know, I don't have information, but I'm from the end user perspective, I'm confident they will they will develop even more this account based approach, so we actually can run EBMs. We can run
Yes.
like a high touch motion inside of HubSpot, and uh,
Yeah.
we can cover most of the low, low, mid, and high touch inside of the CRM, and centralize all your GTM strategies. So
Yes. And um, hopefully the RevOps professionals out there appreciate what I'm about to say next. Uh, HubSpot is doing it in a way that the users want, not in the way that RevOps wants, right? Because RevOps can handle a lot of this through automation, behind the scenes, custom coded workflows, moving things around. But when you're a user and you can't see it, like the visual part where it's like, oh yeah, this stuff has happened, right? The the front end visual nature of it is how it's being accomplished. And what we showed, I think, like with that top signals card, with the ability to create Kanban visuals, um, like those are user experience that they feel they need that kind of thing. Those are the kinds of tools they build outside of HubSpot to understand, okay, where were we last week with this account, right? What else is going on? Like a complete visual context of the situation in order to manage relationships effectively. Because at those high touch can often mean high volatility in terms of if you have 5 to 10 people involved and you touch the wrong one at the wrong time about the wrong thing, like all the other work, no matter how much trust you built, like when it's the CFO or the CIO, and it's like they're not hearing it, and they like the truest of decision makers can kill. Like it doesn't matter how much other trust is built in the team. It's like, oh, that's a non-starter. I know this other tool can do that. So I don't even want anybody spending any more time going down this route of like it's checking off the box of vendor disqualified, right? Like that. And when we're talking about enterprise motions, that part, whether we like it or not, and I can tell you what, no matter how much the champion loves you, like that's devastating, like for them, right? And those that we don't want to, hopefully, we don't want to have people feel that way, but because they are powerless, like at that point, right? And we can joke about it on calls about process and just checking boxes in certain situations, but that's their reality, and they trust us, or they trust the salesperson, the account manager, to help them make sure that that doesn't happen, right? And if you don't have complete context, it happens. Um, so luckily, HubSpot's giving us the tools now, but we know it hasn't always been that way. So definitely looking at it from a perspective of, we're back to figure out your data model, figure out your models, be confident in what you need, why you need it, and then get help setting it up. Like, you know, so we're gonna keep doing these episodes. I think next week, or next time we go live, it's inbound season, so we've got the data summit next week. So maybe we don't go live next Friday. Maybe we do. I think we get one more in before inbound, and maybe it's just talking about data summit. But we're going to get to the mathematical model, at some point. But also, if you feel any of those challenges that Pedro mentioned, um, happy to to dig into those details live or with you directly, because I think at the end of this, we're trying to standardize how the ecosystem approaches these things, not how we build it all, right? How we approach it, which questions that we ask, and how we can think about that collectively, right, as an ecosystem. Because if we solve that one here for Pedro, then maybe 100 more get solved. So appreciate you bringing that up today, man. I think this was a great session.
Yeah, thanks so much. I love to always talk with you. Thank you for the opportunity. And yeah, exciting. Next week we have the data summit, and yeah, see you guys there. And yeah, thanks so much. Have a great weekend.
Awesome. Have a great weekend, everybody.